There's nothing that's concerning humanity more today than the news and what we see in the media. So in this video, we're going to look at what the problem is and what to do about it. When it comes to the news, the media, the world situation today, we seem to be getting stuck in one of two reactions. Either we're getting completely consumed by it and find ourselves thinking about it, talking about it, and taking it in, fostering emotions of anger, fear, and helplessness. Or we decide, I'm not having any part of this, and we completely shut it down. We don't want to listen to it, we don't want to watch it, we don't want to think about it. So we kind of numb ourselves and just ignore what's going on, because let's face it, sometimes we have to do that for our own sanity, don't we? But today I'd like to present a third way, a healthier way and a wiser way, I believe, to interact with all this information we're being constantly bombarded with. But first, let's take a closer look at this thing we call the news and find out what it's really all about. I went on a news fast, by which I mean I didn't look at the news or read the news or anything for about half a year. Partly because I wanted to write my book, but also because I felt like it was poisoning my mind, because all of the news was inviting me into hating somebody, into outrage and indignation, and one adrenaline jolt after another, one fix after another. I wanted to go on a fast or quit cold turkey for a while and see what happened. And having stepped back a little bit from the fray of the media, from the cyclone of news, I got a bit more perspective on it, and it's kind of disturbing. This is a profound deprogramming, because for one thing, the very choice of what gets into the news and what doesn't, what is newsworthy and what isn't, reinforces a certain worldview. It says, here's what's important, and here's what isn't important. And by implication, here's how the world works. Here's what you should care about. Here's what's going to change things. That choice of what to put in the news, it's not a conspiracy. It's more of an unconscious conspiracy, if you will. A collective unconscious choice that reflects society's values and the metaphysics or the causality that society takes for granted. So by pulling back from the news, you pull back from a constant reinforcement of that belief in causality, in that belief of here's what's important. Pulling back from the news will help you in unlearning some of these deeper programs. It's very important to realize that what is being served to us as the news isn't actually an accurate representation of what the world is like. It's actually more of a summary of all the things that are happening that are shocking and scary, because let's face it, you get more clicks that way. We are hardwired to be attracted to sensationalism, to drama, and to want to find out more, to learn the details. But if you've been hanging out on this channel for any amount of time, you'll be getting to know yourself a bit better. That means that you're becoming aware of old thought patterns and habits that have been running your life, and you've been getting to know yourself more deeply so that you can actually make conscious decisions about how you want to go through life, rather than just being a victim of what's happening. And this is what we're dealing with today. Humanity being exposed to this system of news sharing that we have and consuming it unconsciously in reactive mode and creating more stress and anger and hate and fear to add to what's already there. Is it any wonder we're driving ourselves mad? If we're going to evolve as a human race, we need to wake up and see what's going on. See the big picture. See that there are certain events that are happening in the world, and we're cherry picking the worst, most unconscious, disturbing ones to share repeatedly over and over again, to analyze, to pick to death, to traumatize. Really, this is what's happening. Richard Rudd says, the media is the collective mind screaming its trauma into the void. This is what you're consuming every day. This is what you're getting caught up in. He says to engage with it unconsciously is to get pulled into the shadow of fear. So it's not about engaging with it. It's not about cutting off all engagement. But it's about whether you're engaging with it consciously or unconsciously. This is the key. But, he says, to witness it with a soft, open heart is to become an alchemist. Can you witness these things that are happening with a soft and open heart? Thing is, this is extremely challenging because when you engage with these things that are being reported, these horrific things that are happening in the world, it doesn't lend itself to keeping your heart soft and open. In fact, it hardens and closes your heart. And this is what we need to see is happening. We focus so much on the events that are being broadcast that we're not paying any attention to our reaction to them. And therefore, person after person, heart after heart is being hardened and closed. And this isn't helping anything. This is making matters a lot worse. You need to be aware of what's going on in your heart. To witness it with a soft, open heart is to become an alchemist. An alchemist is someone who transforms one thing into another. Here we are being presented with the unconsciousness of the world. How can we transform that? How do we become an alchemist? What does having an open heart have to do with that? Well, Richard says you transmute noise into compassion. You turn overwhelm into wisdom. Everywhere you turn, there's this noise going on of the news and the media. It's very easy to add to that noise, isn't it? And to participate in it. And that's what happens when your heart closes and hardens. But if it can remain soft and open, then that noise can turn into compassion. Let's face it, we're taking on immense burdens, things that are happening all over the world. How can we possibly deal with this? But if you keep your heart soft and open, this overwhelm can transmute into wisdom so that you can take a step back from being caught up in it all and see what's going on. He says the key is not withdrawal, but inner stillness amidst the noise. Inner stillness amidst the noise. That speaks for itself, really, doesn't it? Now, Eckhart Tolle says, whatever you fight, you strengthen, and what you resist persists. Rather than resisting the unconsciousness of others, become intensely present. Intensely present. So this to me conjures up an image of when you're sort of being whirled around at warp speed in this tornado of thought and considerations and endless musings, and you sort of have this dramatic shift out of that into the stillness of this present moment and the awareness of your breath. So rather than resisting the unconsciousness of others, become intensely present. Practice becoming intensely present, especially when you notice yourself getting caught up in the news and what's happening and starting to feel disturbed, and adding to that energy of stress and fear and separation. Eckhart says, this is how you dissolve unconsciousness, not by reacting, but by being. Did you know that you can dissolve unconsciousness? This is the power that's present within your being when you're present. The power of presence, the power of now, as Eckhart calls it, is really quite magical and too wonderful to be explained. So instead of being in this reactive mode, as most of us are most of the time, if you can come back to the purity of your being and the stillness of the present moment, you dissolve this unconsciousness. This is profound and so empowering, right? You can dissolve unconsciousness simply by being present. There's something very deep for us to see here. Not only to see, but to experience. Every day, when you turn on the news, when you listen to the news, when you watch the news, see the storm. See the world blowing this way and that. But realize there's a place within you that no storm can touch. Don't go looking for peace outside yourself. Stay in the awareness of your own being. You can say to yourself, I stay in the awareness of my own being right now. As I read this, as I hear this, as people are speaking about this, I stay in the awareness of my own being. The easiest way to do that is to come back to your breath, the awareness of your breath. taking a conscious breath. And you will be like a tree rooted deep, untouched by the winds of change. Remind yourself, I'm like a tree with deep roots. I'm rooted and grounded in love, in truth. Even when the world is shouting, be the silence that listens. I am the silence that listens. I am rooted in silence, in stillness. As you breathe through this unconsciousness, you will sense the stillness that is rooted in your being. It's very empowering. You don't need to join the noise to make a difference. How many of us try to join the noise? Now be careful. Watch out for that spiritual ego, because this isn't about condemning or judging anyone who likes to talk about the state of the world or political affairs. Not at all. This is simply for you. If you're struggling and stressing with what's going on and feeling overwhelmed and you don't know how to deal with it, you don't need to join the noise to make a difference. Sometimes I think we put pressure on ourselves when everybody is having these conversations and we don't want to partake, we don't want to get involved in it all, because we see the unconsciousness, we see the disturbing energy, and we just don't really have the appetite to participate in that. That's okay. Your peace is more powerful than your opinion. Yes, your peace, which is your intense presence, which is your being rooted deeply. So when you take this unconsciousness and this despair, when you don't run away from it, when you allow it to teach you intense presence, do you see the alchemy going on here? Do you see the despair, the overwhelm being changed into wisdom? Do you see the noise compassionately becoming silence, stillness, deeply rooted in truth and love? Do you see what's going on here? And yet this isn't something dramatic and outward. This can all be happening quietly within your being without anybody realizing it. Every time you're being exposed to these events in the news and the media. It's really astonishing, isn't it? The power. We don't know the power that we have within our being. And this is why I'm making this video. We need to know. We need to get in touch with this power and use it. Use it for the good of the world. Otherwise you're just walking around like a hypnotized being, like a puppet, at the mercy of everything you see and hear, and the mercy of everything that's going on. Now is the time to wake up to this profound power of presence in your being, to realize that there is another way to respond to what's happening in the world, to realize that you're not helpless, that things aren't hopeless, that you're not powerless. Quite the contrary. You and I can make a huge difference in this world in a quiet, ordinary, daily way. So many of us need a new way, a different way of interacting with what's happening, so that we don't keep adding to that noise and adding to that overwhelm. There is a better way. There is. And it's not difficult. It's not only for a chosen few, it's for me and you. We can do this, day by day, in a quiet, beautiful, and ordinary way. All we need is some wise words for today. The world will keep giving you reasons to close your heart. The trick is to let it break open instead, to feel everything, but to let none of it define you. The news, the noise, the endless division, these are not your home. Your home is silence. Your home is love. From that place, you can act, you can serve, you can speak, but your voice will be clean. In times of collective fear and fragmentation, it's not enough to meditate or stay informed. What the world needs are those willing to sit in the fire of not knowing, to not collapse into outrage or bypass into false light, to hold the tension between heartbreak and hope without fleeing. This is not a passive state, but a fierce devotion to wholeness. You become a sanctuary, not because you avoid the world's pain, but because you've made a home for it inside your heart. We're not here to win the war of opinions. We're here to remember the sacred and speak from that place. The world doesn't need more reactive content. It needs more humans whose voices emerge from the silence that understands, from the grief that refuses to numb, from the fire of love that is stronger than outrage. You are not here to fix the whole world. That's not your job. You're here to feel, to breathe, to stay connected to the heart, especially when the world tells you to close it. The pain you see around you is real, yes, but your panic will not heal it. Your numbness will not solve it. Only the one who can stay awake inside the storm, who doesn't run, doesn't attack, doesn't collapse, only that one becomes a lighthouse for others.